New Hawas again. Another Hawas clones. Louis Vuitton cloned again. I've never seen so many Hawases in my life. They won't stop. They will never stop. It will never stop. It will never stop. It will never stop. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. How was that? Ooh, I'm fine, don't worry about it. We got a new Hawas today, a new Rasasi. Yeah! This time it is Cobra, Hawas Kobra, spelled with a K, because that's cool. If it was spelled with the C, lame, so stupid. It's like throwing it back to when everything was extreme, but the E was dropped off, you know, like the X Games. Cobra. The same idea. So this is one of the 4 new Hawas fragrances that has been released. They were all announced at the same time. This one, and then Malibu, which I've already talked about, and then Atlantis, which I don't have yet, and then Viper, which I was thinking, you know, Hawas, really popular line, right? It's been out for a minute. There are a whole bunch of new flankers and they keep coming just nonstop. But to an extent, and let me know what you think, does that cheapen the Hawas name? And I know some people are like, cheapen it, it's already cheap, but you know what I mean. Like when Hawas started to come out with flankers, you know, Hawas Ice, Hawas Black, even Hawas Elixir, I feel like a lot more people were really into it because they didn't constantly release them. So it was like, oh great, a new Hawas. But now it's just like a deluge, you know, like a non-stop release party of Hawas fragrances. And it becomes one of those things where I think people go, okay, like, I would imagine that Rasasi is like, yo, we gotta get these out there, strike while the iron is hot and all that. But to an extent, when you keep coming out with new ones one after the other to the point that it's like one a month almost, kind of loses some of its luster, at least from my point of view. Again, let me know what you think. But we're gonna talk about this regardless, and I'm gonna let you guys know how good it is. It is similar to this right here, Louis Vuitton's Imagination, and I'll let you know some similarities, some differences between these as well. I'll have this one linked in the description. You can find it at Frag Flex. I actually didn't know that. Would have been good to know because I bought mine off the TikTok shop. Glorified HSN, yes, I did give in to the dark side and jump onto the brain rot machine and scoop this up because at the time that's where I could find it. But now you can find it somewhere else, so don't be like me. Let's go ahead and kick it off by taking a look at this presentation. Up close and personal. I meant to do that, of course. On the front of the box, you have the name of the fragrance, you have the size and concentration, 100 ml eau de parfum. This one has a very dark color scheme to it. You have logo up top. On one side of the box, you have your scratch and sniff sticker, which is your sticker of authenticity, and it is not actually scratch and sniff, unfortunately, it's just scratch. If you're gonna make a scratch sticker, give it a little sniff. Keep it interesting. On the back, you have a little information, and then on the bottom, you have your ingredients and your badge code. My bottle manufactured August 2025. And here is the bottle, your typical Hawas styling. This one, a reflective, kind of like gunmetal coloration. You have the name of the fragrance right there on the front. You have Rasasi on top of the cap. You have a sticker on the bottom of the bottle, and the cap does click into place with a really satisfying and loud snap. And you know what we must do. We must spray the bottle. So let's go. And you know what we must do. We have to spray the bottle. So here we go. Good atomizer. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and spray the LV as well. So a couple sprays there. So as of this video, the price for this one is, I think $50 even at Frag Flex. Again, linked in the description below. You can find it other places for a little bit more than that. So if you're looking for it now, that's probably your best bet. Of course, with it being a Rasasi, as time goes on, it should become widely available pretty much everywhere, and that price should drop down. And you know what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna have to say it. If you wanna save a little money, at Frag Flex and other stores as well, then here are some codes you can use to do so. And then all the other codes you see you can use across any of those stores to save yourself cash at any of those anytime you shop. Okay, so as I told you guys, Cobra, which kind of an interesting name, is a clone of Louis Vuitton's Imagination. And while I don't really think that the name or the aesthetic matches what it's supposed to smell like, I guess at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there, but still kind of an odd choice. And also with this one, Rasasi is a little bit, maybe not behind the times, but a little bit slow, because there are a lot of other Imagination clones out there. So at this point, they're kind of like throwing their hat into the ring, which is already fairly firmly established. At this point, Lattafa has a clone, Art of Arabia 1, even Zara has an alternative to Imagination, Sunrise on the Red Sand Dunes, which very poetic. There's also Amber Oud Aqua Dubai by Al Haramain, and then this one Marwa by Arabiat Prestige. So yeah, there are a lot of different alternatives to Imagination out there. And that does become an issue for clone brands. Like if something is already firmly cloned, then maybe yours isn't as necessary, unless the other ones just kind of suck. But that's not really the case for Imagination. A lot of the alternatives to this are really well done. So we're gonna talk about that as well if this one, puts itself at the top of the heap, because it does have to put itself at the top of the heap in order to be worth that $50 price point for most people. I know 50 bucks is not crazy high. Obviously that's still pretty affordable in the grand scheme of things, but it is more expensive than most of the other alternatives out there to this scent right here. So worth keeping in mind. All right, so when you first spray on Hawas Kobra, it is very lively, zesty, zingy, good amount of ginger in there. It smells great, but it doesn't necessarily set itself apart from all the other Imagination style scents out there. You also have a really nice citrus in there, gives a little bit of sweetness, keeps that freshness in full force when you first spray it on. But one thing that I do notice really quickly with this one, with Hawas Kobra, is that it settles into like a soapiness, like within 45 seconds. So at first blush, when it first hits your skin, when you first pick it up in the air or first smell it up close, yeah, tons of ginger, citrus. It's even fresher and sweeter almost than Imagination is. It's also louder than Imagination when you first spray it on. It's got a real heft to it, like it really commands attention. It projects heavily when you first spray it on, much more so than the Louis Vuitton. But like I said, 45 seconds to a minute in, pretty soapy. Like a laundry-esque, cleaner sort of soapiness, little powdery as well. And it is kind of thick, like the way that it comes across. Now it's still fresh, obviously clean because of that soapy aspect, but it's much more pungent with that kind of accord, that kind of vibe than you're gonna get here, and also more so than you're gonna get here. Like I sprayed this on just a second ago. You saw me spray it over here. And yeah, it's definitely heavier than Imagination, but still fresh, still clean. But it is quite a lot as far as that soapiness goes for me when you do a side-by-side comparison with the original. In comparison, side-by-side off the top, Imagination, much more open, much more airy, but in a really positive way. And the citrus in Imagination lingers for longer. So even though that initial push, you get more of that ginger overload with citrus coming through, like I said, zesty, zingy, lively, all that stuff in the Hawas and Imagination, it bides its time a little bit. It's there in the opening, but as it dries down, it still kind of floats around, it sticks around in the air. I will say quality-wise, this is one of those times where, to me, Imagination does come across just higher quality. You smell them side by side. I know it's not really saying much. It's like, well, look how much this costs versus this. But there are a lot of clones out there that are so good that when you smell them, you don't have the thought of like, oh, smells cheaper. No, like there are some that are so good, you smell them and you're like, this is insane for the price. And still, this is good value, but side by side, you know which one's more expensive. As it dries down, you do pick up that tea like you would expect in any Imagination fragrance through the mid. Again, not gonna be quite as smooth as what you're gonna find in Imagination, but it still does the job. It smells nice. It has a little tang to it. It maintains that kind of laundry-esque clean feeling through the mid. You get a little bit of white floral notes that come out, and then into the dry down, you get more woods that kind of make themselves known, along with a fizzy, clean, white musk, kind of like a neutral muskiness in the base of Cobra here. Imagination is a little bit more nuanced. The way that the tea comes through is cleaner, it's clearer. And then you also have that wonderful soft neroli in here as well, which kind of blends together with that citrus from the opening, you know, gives kind of different facet to the way the citrus comes across. So side by side, to me, Imagination is the superior fragrance, but if we're talking performance, the Rasasi is better. Hands down, all the way. Opening, mid, dry down, it projects harder, it lasts longer, it will potentially fill a room at least as much as this type of fragrance can. You know, a fresher type of scent profile is what I mean by that. It's really good as far as performance goes. Probably of the Imagination alternatives or clones that I have, which is all the big ones, this is the best performing one off my skin. And that makes sense because when you look at the other ones like the Zara, that one off my skin, not very good. Marwa is not bad, but it's not super strong. Hawas Kobra, I should say, definitely stronger than Marwa and Imagination. But as far as just the smell, like if you're going off of the smell, how close it gets to Imagination, how it captures that kind of vibe, Marwa is better to me than Hawas Kobra is. So it's once again one of those things where it's like, well, which is more important to you? Is it performance? Then this one. Is it capturing as much of that vibe of that scent as you can? Then to be this one. It's not the exact same, but it does a really, really good job and smells extremely good with a very nice quality aspect to it as well. And also a really good atomizer. Not that that matters. But if it had that atomizer with the magnetic cap, then we'd be talking. So of the two Hawas fragrances that I've smelled so far, the new ones, Cobra and Malibu, I probably would lean a little bit more towards Malibu of the two as to which one I like more. Malibu, of course, is an alternative or a clone to Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Le Parfum, and that one's really well done. It does lean more into like a fresher take on that fragrance. Not that Le Beau Le Parfum is like, you know, a crazy, insanely heavy, deep, dark fragrance or anything like that. But Malibu does have a little more of a fresh aspect to it, especially off the top. I think that one though is really well done. A good alternative to Le Beau Le Parfum. Good quality, scent profile, versatility, complement factor, all that. The issue that I have with this one is kind of what I alluded to at the beginning of the video. There are already a bunch of different Imagination clones out there, and they've been out there, and some of them are very cheap. So if you're coming out with a clone of the fragrance and you're putting it out there at like 50 bucks, which as far as clone fragrances go is a little bit toward the high end, right? I mean, it's not insane. It's not Joe Milano prices where they're out here trying to get you to pay $80, $90 at discounters for a clone, but still it's a little bit on the high end. So it has to come out and just absolutely nail it. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna pay that much, it has to be better quality than the other clones out there that are cheaper than it. It has to perform better. It has to do everything really, really, really well. And some of those things it does. Like the performance, great, no issues. But then with some of the other aspects of the fragrance, I actually end up preferring some of the other alternatives out there that are cheaper. And yeah, it kind of puts a damper on the party, right? Now, in terms of when you would use Hawas Kobra in terms of seasonality, you know, it's in the same wheelhouse as Imagination, spring, summer, daytime for most people. It is office safe, but if you go crazy with the trigger, it's gonna be heavy. And at that point, it may cross over into not being office safe, but that's more on you because you are a psychopath and you can't be trusted with your fragrances. Stop spraying so much. What's wrong with you? I need people to notice me. 50 sprays will do it today. I'm gonna get a compliment. Gosh dang it.
Gosh dang it, I'm gonna get me a compliment. You watch me, I'm gonna be the best smelling guy in the office.
Yeah, spring, summer, daytime for the most part. But it is, again, that type of fragrance that you can wear about whenever you want. And if you're somewhere that's air conditioned, who cares? If it's gonna be 70 degrees Fahrenheit wherever you're at that point, you can wear pretty much anything, I guess, within reason. So here we are toward the end of the second of the new 4 Hawas fragrances. And it is okay. It's not a bad release. It smells good. I don't prefer that added emphasis on soapiness that you get from this one. Now, I've said that a few times, you know, talking about the soapiness of the fragrance. I do need to iterate here that it's not like insane soapiness. It's just that when you compare it side by side to this one, the original, and then the other alternatives, this one does end up coming across soapier to me than pretty much any of the other ones that I have. And so that's why I kind of have talked about it. And it's also because it's stronger than the others. So that's also gonna kind of like amplify that aspect a little bit, whereas some of the other ones, maybe they sit a little closer to the skin, and so you're like, yeah, it's soapy, but you know, it's clean, it's sitting here softly, it's nice, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. This one is kind of like, yo, what's up, dog? So it kind of hits you a little more is what I'm trying to say. Still smells good, the quality's there, smells nice, but of the Hawas flankers that have come out here recently, I would probably put most of them over this one, just my own personal taste. Still solid, still good. If you're a fan of Hawas, if you're a big fan of getting every single alternative to imagination out there possible, you check it out. I think if you already own this one or any of the other really big imagination alternatives, you really don't need this. There's gonna be so much overlap, and the differences between them are not enough that it warrants scooping them all up, if that makes any sense. So there we go, Hawas Kobra. Really, who is this gonna be for? Probably the people who do not have an imagination alternative yet, and they're looking for like the one that has the best performance. That's probably who this is best for people out there who already have this original one, or they have, you know, Marwa or one of the other well-done ones, massage infused, something like that. Massage. You really don't need this unless you're just a, like I said, big fan, collector of the line, something like that. All right, guys, that will do it for me. Again, let me know what you think about this resurgence of Hawas, all the new fragrances they keep releasing, because I figure just at the breakneck pace that they've been going, we're probably gonna get more either at the very beginning of next year or maybe even before the end of this year, who knows? I feel like also though, like when you get to a certain point, is it just like too far? Like have too many come out in a row now to where even if they come out with the bangingest of bangers next up, that people will go, okay, I do wonder, you know. Maybe it would be good for them to like take a step back, release one at a time, but make sure that that one they release is just absolutely buttoned up perfect. You know what I mean? All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.